All right, today we're going to dive into prayer, but probably not in the way you're used to thinking about it. We're going to explore how prayer is so much more than just asking for stuff. It's this deep, fundamental force, an unspoken language, and even a physical action that literally helps shape our reality.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever started a new habit with just like incredible energy? You're going to hit the gym, you're going to learn that new skill, you're going to be consistent with your prayers, and then a month later, poof, the drive is just gone. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. It's a classic human struggle. We find what feels like the right path, but man, staying on it is tough.
So, why does that happen? Well, the source material we're looking at offers this really powerful metaphor. It says our faith, our drive, our spiritual core, it's like a fire. And this is key. It's not a permanent thing, it's not a rock. It's a living, breathing energy that needs fuel. And if we stop tending to it, if we stop adding the wood of practice and reflection, well, what happens to a fire without wood? The flames just naturally start to die down.
So let's start there. Why does this inner fire fade? Because understanding this problem is actually the first step toward finding a much more powerful and sustainable way to connect with the divine.
One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that faith is a one-and-done deal. But there's this tradition that compares faith to a piece of clothing. It just naturally wears out over time. It needs to be constantly renewed, a process called tajdid, or refreshment. And if we stop doing that, especially when the world around us feels kind of cold and damp, that roaring fire we once had, it turns to embers, and then eventually to just ash.
So how do we refuel that fire? This is where prayer comes in. But, and this is a big but, not the kind of prayer that's just a long wish list we send up to the sky. Let's go deeper.
For a lot of us, prayer is basically a shopping list. Please give me this, please help with that. But the source introduces a much more profound way to pray, sometimes called the prayer of the Ismi Azam, the greatest names. The idea is, instead of asking for things, you praise the attributes of the one who gives them. Think of it like this. You go to see a powerful king. What's more effective, demanding gold, or saying, "Your Majesty, your generosity is known throughout the lands"? By praising the attribute, the gift becomes a natural result. And then there's an even more intense, more raw form of prayer, monajat. This is the prayer of pure, absolute desperation. It's what happens when you've hit rock bottom. All the doors have closed, you're so broken you can't even figure out what to ask for anymore. You just present your state. You just say, "This is me. This is my situation. You see it all." It's a total surrender, just like the prophets Yunus in the belly of the whale or Ayub in his sickness.
Okay, now we get to what is maybe the most mind-bending idea from the source. The idea that the entire universe, everything, is in a constant state of prayer, even if it doesn't have a voice. So first, there's what's called prayer by potential, or istidat. This is the silent prayer that's locked inside potential itself. An apricot seed, for example, holds the potential to become a huge fruit-bearing tree. Its very being, its blueprint, is a prayer to God to let it become what it was made to be. An eagle's egg is basically praying to become a soaring eagle. It's the prayer of becoming. Second, you have the prayer by need, or ihtiyaj. This is the prayer of pure necessity. A newborn baby has no idea how to ask for milk, right? But its deep, desperate need is a prayer so powerful that milk is provided. The cells in your body are constantly praying for oxygen, and a whole system works to answer that prayer without you even thinking about it. Every living thing's need is a prayer that's always being heard. And this leads to an idea that will completely flip your perspective. We usually think a desert is a desert because rain doesn't fall there. Simple cause and effect. But what if it's the other way around? The source suggests that maybe the rain doesn't fall because there are no seeds there offering the prayer potential to call it down. The prayer of the seed is what actually attracts the rain. Wild, right?
So here's the kicker. When these three powerful forces come together, the prayer of your innate potential, the prayer of your deepest needs, and the prayer of utter desperation, you create this kind of spiritual perfect storm. It's a combination that, according to the source, is almost never left unanswered.
Now, this isn't all just cosmic, abstract stuff. It connects directly to our everyday lives, to our efforts, and to our actions. And this brings us to a concept called Fili Dua, which you can think of as action-based prayer. And it's actually a pretty simple formula. First, you have a sincere desire in your heart. Second, you prove that sincerity by taking action, by putting in the effort.
That action is the prayer. And third, the result that you get, that's the divine response to that powerful mix of your intention and your work. There's this fantastic story that just nails this idea perfectly. A companion of the Prophet Muhammad was complaining that he was praying and praying for his sheep's wounded leg, but nothing was happening. And the response he got was so simple but so profound. Add some tar to your prayer. In other words, yeah, ask for healing, but you also better apply the medicine. Your action is part of the prayer. And you can see this everywhere. A farmer tilling the soil is a prayer for a harvest. A student studying for an exam is a prayer for success. Knocking on a doctor's door and asking for medicine is a powerful prayer for health. Every single time we use the tools and the means that are available to us, we are performing this fi'li dua.
So this all leads us to the biggest question of them all. If prayer is this powerful, this combination of our potential, our needs, our desperation, and our actions, can it actually change what seems to be, well, predetermined?
I mean, that's the question we all have, isn't it? If everything is already decreed, if it's all written down somewhere, what's the point of any of this? Does it really make a difference?
Well, the source offers a really important distinction here. Think of God's knowledge as being absolute. It's like a map that shows every possible road, every path you could ever take. That map doesn't change. But God's active will, a concept called mashiach, is dynamic. It's the path that actually gets taken. And our choices, our actions, our prayers, they can influence which path is chosen. It's why we're told that sincere charity can push away a disaster, or that prayer can actually change the course of events. Our actions matter. They help choose the path.
And this brings us to our final takeaway, and honestly, this one might just break your brain a little in the best way possible. Since God exists outside of time, no past, present, or future, is it possible that a heartfelt prayer you're going to make 20 years from now is the very reason you're receiving a blessing today? Your future prayer could be the cause of your present good fortune. And that just reframes everything. It turns prayer from a simple request into a timeless conversation that is shaping our reality in ways we are only just beginning to grasp.